Hi, welcome back. This week we're going to be making broccoli salad with bacon and sweet sour dressing from our textbook. We're going to make 3 different iterations testing the color change of the broccoli. Alrighty, so I'm halving these recipes, and the first thing I'm going to be doing is portioning out my broccoli. I bought 1 extra large bunch, and I'm going to be separating it into 3 different portions. While I'm separating out my broccoli, I'm going to be talking about the nutritional value of our broccoli today. It is actually a good source of vitamin C, and ounce per ounce, it nearly has twice the amount of vitamin C of oranges. At 93.2 milligrams per 100 grams for the broccoli, and 53.2 milligrams per 100 grams for the oranges. Broccoli is also a good source of beta carotene at 1540 IUs. Beta carotene, or vitamin A, helps with neurological development and reduces the chance of heart attack and stroke. The last major nutrient from broccoli is the folic acid at 71 micrograms. The folic acid prevents the homocysteine levels from rising. It also prevents damage to the blood vessels, and it prevents heart attack and stroke. Broccoli, like many other vegetables, turn a sad brownish yellow-green when being cooked for too long. This is caused by the heat killing the cells, allowing the acid from one part of the cell to meet the chlorophyll in another. Upon meeting, the hydrogen in the acid immediately switches places with the magnesium, causing the color change. This is what we're playing with today with our 3 different iterations of the recipe. The first iteration, we are going to be making it 24 hours in advance, allowing it to sit in acid and see what the color change is going to be. The second iteration is going to be blanching the broccoli before we add it to the acid to see how dramatic the color change is, and then we'll be making a controlled group. Since I had my broccoli out now, I went ahead and chopped it up, separating the stalks versus the flowers. I did not add it till later though. I also stored the other 2 portions for tomorrow. To get started with the first one, which is the 24 hours in the fridge, I added a 1/4 cup of light Great Value mayo. For my sugar, I needed a half 1/3 cup, so I found this reference. So I put in 2.5 tablespoons and 1/2 teaspoon. I used Great Value granulated sugar for this. Next, I added a 1/4 teaspoon of my Morton sea salt fine, and then blended it all together. Now that it's all blended together, I slowly added my 1.5 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I poured in the tablespoon first, blended, and then my 1/2 tablespoon second, then blended. Now that our sauce is made, we are going to chop up an onion. We are using a Vidalia sweet onion, but we're only going to be using half of it. I'm going to store the other half for the other iteration tomorrow. With our cut onions, we are going to add them directly to the sauce we made earlier, and then blend, and then we're going to add our broccoli to the same sauce and blend. This is what my salad is looking like now. What we're going to do is put the lid on it, put it in the fridge, and let it refrigerate for 24 hours. To get started on the next 2 salads, I made these sauces side by side. That way there wouldn't be very much variance. The main difference between these 2 batches is one of the batches will have the broccoli blanched. Blanching vegetables is when you drop them briefly into boiling water and then drop them into cold water to stop the cooking process. This is used a lot by caterers because it brings out a vibrant green, making them more appealing. Blanching also removes the protective coating that raw vegetables have. This coating slows or prevents the acid from getting into the cells and stops the color change. Since this happens, I believe the ones that are blanched will be the most brown and yellow out of all three of them. I believe the one sitting in the fridge for 24 hours will be the second grayest, and I believe the control will be the brightest. After adding the broccoli to our mixtures, you can tell which one is the blanched one just by the brightness of the left side compared to the right side's dullness. But now we are going to seal them up and then put them in the refrigerator. And excuse the fridge, but this one is going to be our overnight one from 10 o'clock last night. This one is our control group, and this one's our blanched group. We're going to let these sit until about 10 o'clock tonight. We're going to add our bacon. No raisins, don't like raisins. So we'll see what it looks like then. At about 10:30, I made 12 pieces of bacon, 4 pieces for each batch, cut it up, and then added it to our mixture and mixed in well, and repeated the same process for the other 2 batches. The overnight batch has sat for 24 hours and 11 minutes, and the other 2 batches sat for 4 hours and 11 minutes. This is what my salad started to look like. That one was the control, this one was the overnight, and that one was the blanched. You can kind of tell a color difference between the first 2 and the blanched one. To be honest, I thought there would be a bigger color difference for the overnight batch because it was sitting in the acid for longer. But it seems like that protective coating does a lot more than I give it credit for. You can definitely tell the blanched one, which is had the coating removed, is a lot more yellowy and brown than the other 2, and there's not much of a color difference between the overnight and the regular. I wanted to see if there would be an increased difference if I let them sit overnight again, so I packed them up and put them back in the refrigerator. The first overnight batch has been sitting in the apple cider vinegar for 39 hours and 53 minutes, and the other 2 batches have been sitting for 19 hours and 53 minutes. So here's them side by side. This is our control. This one's our over 24 hours. This one is our blanched. These ones look pretty similar. This one's a little bit darker. If that, the stem is a little bit darker, a little bit more darker green. But this is the big change right here. And it's because it doesn't have the protective coating. It's a lot more olive. Overall, they taste great, and I'm excited to make this again.